So welcome to the first vibe coding tool I ever built. I call this the business validation system. One thing I spent a lot of my time on is working with startups. And one of the pain points I had was before hopping onto a call with a new startup, typically all I got was the value prop, the problem they're trying to solve, or maybe just a high level of the industry they're in. So I wanted to create a tool that would give me some context. What's your TAM SAM SOM? What's the key pain points they need to solve? What are some of their ICPs? But most importantly, what is the competition in the market? Just so I had a better understanding hopping to the meeting, and this is why I created. So how it works was very simple. You would click in and you would enter just some basic information. What's the business concept? What industry is it in? And some of the key problem statements you're trying to solve. And you would enter your email and a unique project code just so I was able to track it. But most importantly, you could go back in and see a list if you had a bunch of different projects. So let me fill that in right now. So I just entered some very high level, very basic things. Typically you want to fill this in more, but this is just for the use case. One small thing I really learned through vibe coding was the fact of loading bars are a lot harder said than done. So how I solved this initially was the fact that you have this loading bar. It's all completely fake. What really happens at the end is you'll say your analysis is complete and then you will get an email. This was important because I was able to get the user's email. I was able to then have no waiting period. If I was using some of the cheaper models and it took longer, the user wasn't waiting on an infinite loading screen and you weren't timing out. And allowed me to sit back and really make a better user experience. So for example, this is the screen you'd get, and I'll show you what it would actually look like. So this is just a demo of what the report would look like. You would get the project overview. You would be able to see your TAM SAM SOM, the classic thing of any startup or entrepreneur course, who the competitive landscape is, who the big users are within the market, who are the big competitors. And typically when talking to a new startup, you'd want to make sure they're aware of their competitors, their customer validation framework. This was most commonly the common questions you should be asking or answers at least you should know from a startup, especially when it comes to mentoring them. And then the ICPs, just really who you're trying to sell to. But this is really high level, but initially I found this extremely useful. So this is my first attempt at vibe coding. A lot of learnings, and one thing if you're interested in how I did this project on my website, you can see on how it works. I talked to you through exactly how I built this. Now again, this is my first project, so I will share a lot more updated projects where there's a lot more automation, a lot more effectiveness, a lot better user experience. But if you're interested in starting this up and spinning this up by yourself, this is the simplest way I believe you can do it. I really built with three main tools: Lovable, Taskade, and N8N. On the left-hand side, actually, through Taskade, you're actually able to build agents. So you can ask me questions about my personal life, my history and work experience. And this was a unique way of adding agents, or at least a self-help, to any project. That's one of the reasons I actually love Taskade for this project. So as you can see, this project changed how I operate. This was the little seed that caused the idea to grow. Every meeting, every startup conversation, every product idea became a what if I built this version instead, and now enabling me to have the power. And since this tool, I built way more complex things: character builders, games, RMake workflow, storybook creator, such as a new product I'm working on. Also from the exact same moment, the realization that I could make software myself, or at least build an MVP greater than anything I had before.